And next we will have Mrs. Emily Duncan. Emily lives in Plainfield. She started writing when she was 6, and she was published the first time when she was 16. She wrote an article about Santa Claus, and it was published on Christmas Day in the Peoria Journal-Star. Leanne really is a Santa Claus. For the past 16 years, she has been writing political speeches, and then she joined us about a year and a half ago, and is also working on a novel. Her usual genre is poetry, essays, fiction, song lyrics, and so forth. Tonight she is going to be reading a new piece called The Road to Forgiveness.
The Drive to Forgiveness.
There we go.
So this is something I've been trying to write for almost 7 years. And it was really hard for me, so I wrote it before I came. I know Tom loves it when I do that. So, The Drive to Forgiveness. Pushing the hangers aside, one by one, I inspected my clothes. My eyes dutifully scanned each piece, looking for something funeral appropriate. My wardrobe was barely work appropriate. This task was proving more difficult than I imagined. Finding something black wasn't the issue. It was finding something black that looked respectful enough to wear in front of my dad. Damn it! Sorry. I shouted. 17 days ago, I was standing on my mother's front porch, hugging my dad. If only I would have known that that was the last embrace, I would have held on longer, tighter, and said something else. I can't even remember what I said. I can only remember what he said. I'm not afraid to die, Em. It was the night before his elective back surgery. He wasn't sick. He didn't have a disease. He had a bad back. A bad back, for Christ's sakes. It's not that I didn't expect my dad to die. I knew he was human by witnessing the catastrophic mistakes he'd made. I didn't expect him to die like that, without warning, without telling me he was leaving, without saying that he was sorry, without me getting to forgive him. God damn it! I screamed again as I sliced my finger open with the point of the hanger. I felt pain, but I wasn't entirely sure which part of me was suffering. My mind furiously replayed the last moments of his life, their images distorted as they passed through a fractured lens. I can't do this. I can't go and be there in that place with those people. My stepmom, my brother. When I look at them, their chests heaving with dutiful sobs, I only see Judas. Shoving the least wrinkled black dress I could find into my suitcase, I slammed shut and drug it out to my car. The drive ahead, 200 or so miles, seemed not enough distance to get me where I needed to be. How long a drive would it take me to forgive myself for not forgiving him? I've been trying to do that for most of my life, and now, when I needed it, I couldn't do it. I'd always driven towards something, towards home, towards memories, towards the last remnants of the self I swore I left behind. Who would I be when all this disappeared? Who would he be if he no longer owed me anything? Could I live with his debt, or would it destroy me? My body began to ache as the cracks in my foundation deepened. I kept driving anyway. Sometimes you follow a map, one that someone handed you with all the points of interest clearly marked. You follow the path, stop at the designated spots, and pretend you know exactly where you're supposed to be. I followed a map to get here, to this place where my father's coffin sits across the room. The distance between him and I has never felt so vast. I stand here alone. People reach for me, touch my hand, and pay their homage. I cannot feel their humanness nor their sadness. Maybe they are not made of flesh and bone. Maybe they are made of something much stronger. I turn away from the place where he lay to pretend this isn't real, nodding my head, forming my mouth into a faint smile, I show them what they expect to see. And the people shuffle their feet forward, marching in line to show their obedience. My father would have been so proud. I almost glance over my shoulder to see if he is watching, but then I remember his eyes are closed. And so it goes. Time keeps on, dragging a broom behind, sweeping his life into a dust cloud. There is silence now. They have laid their flowers and said a prayer and moved past this moment. My feet still remain. Reaching out, gliding my hand along the polished brass handles, bearing the weight of my father, I can feel his presence beside me. We stand, arms touching, grieving the same man. He grieves for what could have been. I grieve for what already has been written. I turn to go, pausing briefly. So long, Dad. I look up at the sky that he said would always keep us together in the same place, because even in heaven, we'd be gazing at the same universe. The clouds blanket us in despair and cold, but I feel a warmth upon my face as a tiny breeze whispers in my ear, I'm sorry, Em. I drove 200 miles searching for forgiveness. For him, for me. But I found it while I was standing still. Sorry.